Lady Ball basketball senior guard Jewel Spear made a final decision to stay at Tennessee despite the coaching change. She announced that on Tuesday. How big of a lick is this for Tennessee to be able to keep Spear in the fold?
This is a big one. Jewel Spear is probably one of the players. I think she's one of the players that John specifically mentioned that actually could play in this system for Kim Caldwell. So this is actually a very solid pickup.
Referring to
I
John
do.
Adams, who joins us on Tuesday. Go ahead.
Yes, that is true. I do think that Jewel Spear, um, she was preseason All SEC going into this past year, averaged about a little over 13 points. So I think she's the exact type of player that the Lady Vols need. The question is, again, the Lady Vols have a lot of interior players, and Tamari Key is graduated, but you want to know what's going to happen with those players. I mean, because a lot of them may not fit into what Kim Caldwell wants to run at Tennessee. So that's going to be intriguing to watch what happens going forward.
I think she definitely needs some local presence, and she's tried to get that with her assistant coaches. I wonder where she will try to recruit first, because when the NIL came out and everybody's trying to figure this thing out, and they're throwing millions of dollars at players who haven't proven anything, like Bryce Young, for instance, and you've learned now you want to pay players who have proven something. Does she immediately go and try to get some top high school prospects, or does she try to go transfer portal and get some ladies that can help right away? I mean, I know that Danny White said expect to win next year. It's one thing to say that, it's another thing to build a program. Do you believe that's the way she truly feels in her heart?
Yeah, I think she's going to go for talent next year. I do. I think this is very similar. Like I've said for a while, this is like becoming, when you take over a program like the Lady Vols, it's like, or even Tennessee football, in the age of NIL and the transfer portal, taking over these big programs is like becoming GM of the Yankees. You don't sit there and develop talent through the farm system if you're the Yankees. You just go sign the best free agents available and build a championship team that way. And I think that, I think that's the real focus of this, is that I think they need to. I think they're going to need to go in the portal immediately and get talent, and particularly since they want to win this year.
I tell you what, for the first time in my life, I'm okay with coaches making a gajillion dollars. When basically we're talking about glorified gym coaches in a lot of situations, but with the lack of patience they have in their field, I'm kind of cool with it. Quality Tire Pro, the Eberle family has been serving Chattanooga's community since 1957. All major brands of tires, full service automotive brands, brakes, alignments, all oil changes, and more. All work covered by nationwide warranty. Cherokee Blvd. Say, hey, Bo, Off the Hook Sports sent me. Hey, Bo, Off the Hook Sports sent me. Or go to qualitytirepros.com, qualitytirepros.com. Man, if you don't flip this thing in 2 or 3 years, you don't have a lot of time. The days of the 5-year plan are out the window, aren't they, Caleb?
I mean, there hasn't been a 5-year plan allowed in, unless you take over a really bad football program. I don't know what's the last powerhouse program that you think allowed a 5-year plan. I mean, look, Johnny Major's got a 10-year plan at Tennessee, to be fair, but most coaches aren't getting.
Dean Smith. He went a long time before he won his first one, like 7, 8 years, maybe.
Yeah, but they were perpetual.
You got to remember,
contenders.
I'm a little bit older than you. A lot of people thought he was kind of the Calipari of that generation before he won his second one. They kind of thought like you've underachieved.
I still feel like he underachieved.
Well, yeah, he probably still did, but especially when I had a few years on you, and it was like, is he ever going to win his second one? Are there any quick Tennessee men's basketball transfers that we want to mention, because they bring in a pretty good one in Darlene Stone Dubar, who you think can be a Dalton Connect. Now, Igor Milichik Jr. is going to visit. He'll be the third visitor, we've been told, of the offseason. What do you think Tennessee would like to continue to pick up? Any other names we need to know before we talk about James Pierce being not only one of the best players on Tennessee's defense, football team, SEC, but nation and I am not exaggerating. So, give me the latest on Tennessee men's recruiting info first, please.
Yeah, so the other one they're targeting is Cade Tyson. I'm not so sure they're going to get Cade Tyson now since Darling Stone Dubar has committed to Tennessee. He was another wing player, 6'7", 205, but I mean, I understand why they're not targeting him or why they may not get him now, but if he committed to Tennessee, Dave, the guy shoots 46.5% from three, 2.5
Yeah,
points a game.
but I'm kind of with you. This felt like somebody needs to do it, and the first that does it has a scholarship.
Yeah, that's what it felt like too. Igor Milicic could definitely work out. I will tell you this, as a matter of fact. I'm not reporting on this. This is why we didn't want to do a segment on it today. But there are rumblings that Owaka is looking at coming back.
I've heard more than rumblings on that, and if you want to address that, we can. I've heard that it's likely that he will come back.
You've heard it's likely. Interesting.
Likely. I think this is a money play, and I don't think he handled it the best way he could have possibly handled it. I think you're more.
I thought it had more to do with just Barnes' system and, too many bigs now with Barnes trying to play small ball.
Yeah, I think you want to get paid, and I think he realizes how important he is. He finds himself in a unique position. I just think you get paid quietly behind the scenes, kind of like, Cooper Mays did. I don't think you go out there and you announce that you're going to enter the transfer portal if your only goal is to get paid. I mean, you could have waited 24, 48 hours. It just ends up being bad PR for your school, and you end up taking the money and staying anyway, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's a New York AAU kid where, they kind of they unfortunately, this, Dave, a lot of those AAU coaches teach you to just oversell your market value way before you should and shop yourself around when you shouldn't. The only defense I could maybe have to, again, beyond, I think it is partially Barnes' system. Maybe Owaka knows that most of his money is to be made in college because he could be limited for the NBA.
I think somebody needs to talk to him like really soon about how much money he could make in Europe. If he's thinking about the NBA, he's already too far down the path, in my opinion.
Does Europe pay that well? Like, does it pay? Like, I'm not sure about the money in
They
Europe.
do okay. I Googled it one time, and I think I'm not going to mention which player. I think he made like $600,000 a year, and he had like
wow, so
he had like
does better than
a 12-year career.
WNBA.
Well, that's not saying a lot.